Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we're tracking a potential winter storm to happen across portions of the interior northeastern United States as well. This will also be followed by very cold air, which can bring in a hard freeze for some areas across the Ohio Valley into portions of the Midwest as well. And this may also bring some flooding problems again for the Tennessee Valley and also maybe a little bit severe weather mixed in as well. So let's go to take a look into the watch warning map here. The wind and the fire danger is starting to calm down across the plains. On the last video, we had most of the plains under red flag warnings and or wind advisories or high wind warnings across those areas of there. It's now more focused across the northern plains now, places like most of Nebraska, the Dakotas, even into portions of Iowa and Minnesota as well. Red flag warnings across portions of southwestern Texas, southern New Mexico, southeastern Arizona. And what do we notice here also on this map? Well, check out for areas that in the dark purple, like places across southeastern Ohio, western West Virginia, most of Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, in the southern half of Missouri, and three counties in southeastern Kansas. It's where we have freeze warnings in effect here. And some of these places will could experience a hard freeze in some places there if you're going to get into the low 20s Thursday morning into Friday morning in some of these places in here. In areas in the blue here, if I'm correct, those are freeze watches in there as well. We also got areas in the uh, dark green here. You got the Tennessee Valley highlighted in a flash flood watch. Same situation for northern New Hampshire, where some of these places may have a chance to see some flash flood issues again. These are areas that do not need any more rain at all. Although I have seen a shift to some of the highest snow rainfall totals, a little bit more focus across western Kentucky here, getting a little close to the Ohio River as well. Hopefully that's going to be correct because most of that rain could avoid the Tennessee Valley, where some of the hardest hit places that happened a couple days ago, which they are still experiencing some high water issues in some of those places in there. So they absolutely do not need any more rain. Although there will still be a decent amount of rain on the way here, despite of having some of the highest rainfall totals, which could be 1 to 2 inches over here. Some of these places can still see up to an inch of rain. So just to keep in mind that, and even for an inch of rain can lead to high water issues again in some of those places. You also do notice here, portions of New York and northern, I believe that's northern Vermont. Hopefully I got that correct. That's a winter storm watch, and that's the area we gotta be focused on, where some of those places could see at least some several inches of snow across those areas as well. The same system will bring in a chance for some severe weather. So this is for the rest of today or tonight. We got a marginal risk for severe weather across most of Arkansas, northern Louisiana, northeastern Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, the northern half of Mississippi, the western half of Tennessee, far southwestern Kentucky, and northern Alabama, and even for a couple counties in northwestern Georgia. Primary threats, a non-zero tornadic threat. It's still pretty low. Wind will be a primary threat for most areas. Hail can also be there as well, but that's going to be a little bit more focused back across the Arlington region. Which, talking about severe weather, we actually do have a couple tornado warnings and across those areas down there as well, which I believe looks like we may have one right here and another one right here. And that's where we do have a couple tornado warnings out there as of right now. So let's take a look into some modeling here. So this is the NAM model here. You can see here showers of thunderstorms across western Kentucky here. You can see there for a period of time here how that kind of trains here across western Kentucky here. A couple balls are hinting on western Kentucky as to be the bullseye for right now, and even for northern Kentucky. You also do see some scattered thunderstorms there, where some of those could be strong to severe, even for a couple in Mississippi, Alabama. As we move on here, a lot of this rain here will become widespread Wednesday morning here. You got some moderate to heavy rain in some places in here across the Tennessee Valley in the Lower Hall Valley region. And as we continue on, severe weather threat may go on for some of these places in here where we do have a marginal risk in place for some of these places in here. We actually do have a slight risk for severe weather. Southern half of Alabama, southeastern Mississippi, and also for west central Georgia as well. The primary threat's going to be damaging winds, although the tornado threat will be non-zero, but it's expected to be pretty low. Damaging winds would be your primary threat. There could also be some hail for those storms, but don't expect a whole lot of anything. Well, probably just damaging winds is what you could expect here. It's not like it's going to be another tornado outbreak or anything. It's just going to be a damaging straight line wind event. Or you could just say strong winds with some of these thunderstorms in here as well. You can see here about the high risk dam here, and check this out. Take a look at eastern Ohio, eastern Kentucky, the mountains of Tennessee and North Carolina and West Virginia, western Pennsylvania, southwestern New York State started to transition over to some snow. Some of these places haven't seen snow in a long time here. Well, not really a long time. It's probably been about a month here. Yeah, at least a month for some places. But you can see here as we get into early Thursday morning, which is also April Fool's Day. And this is no joke at all. Let's just put it that way. I know some people are going to be joking around with this. But this is a no joke event here. But we do have snow for central Pennsylvania up to most of New York, portions of Virginia, and also for Maryland, West Virginia, and some snow in the mountains, Tennessee, and western North Carolina as well. Pretty far south there. And this low here is going to keep on deepening as it moves to the northeast here. So your bullseye for most of the snow will be somewhere in this zone in here. And I think New York State is going to be your bullseye area at this time here. And if we check out the snowfall totals from the NAM, which some of these places could be overdone just because of those soil temperatures there, which we'll also take a look at that in just a moment. But you can see here, I think the general bullseye is going to be somewhere in the zone in here, where some places could see maybe up to 7 to 8 inches of snow, which in those higher elevations may have a chance to get to the 10-inch mark, which some of the National Reserve's offices do have some of those places in the 10-inch zone, which is mainly again for the higher elevations. It's going to be one of those type of events where the higher elevations can see a lot of snow and the lower elevations can see not as much snow. So in the lower elevations, you may get to see a couple inches, maybe a few inches of snow. If you get into those higher elevations, that's where you'll see some of your highest snowfall amounts would be. You can even see here, some of the snowfall amounts do get as far south as the Tennessee and North Carolina state line. It's even hinting some snow across northwestern Arkansas as well. But some snow may fall across those places as well. Now, I'm just going to say this. Every single model is going to show the same thing, at least for the storm track wise, so there's not a whole lot of a point to it. So we're just going to check out other snowfall maps here. You can see here the GFS model, which I think it's a little bit more accurate here in my opinion. At least a little further south here with some of these snowfall totals. But when you get a little further north here, in places of Vermont, New York State, Pennsylvania, even into northern New Hampshire here, not New Hampshire, Maine, where some of those places in there could see some decently snowfall totals in there, where there may be a chance some places could see 10 inches of snow. There's some uncertainties across the zone here, just really going to depend on that track there at the low. And if we take a look into the Canadian model, you can even see some lake effect snow action going on here from Lake Michigan here and also from Lake Erie as well. You're going to have some lake effect snow action there. But you can see here again, pretty much the same thing as what the NAM is showing here. Snowfall amounts, higher elevations could be up to 10 inches of snow. Lower elevations, only a couple inches to maybe several inches of snow in some places as well. And we'll check out the high-res NAM, which is very high-res. So it pretty much pinpoints all those higher elevations out there. You can see here within those higher elevations, you do have a chance to spit out 10 inches of snow. Now, I will say that areas a little further south, it's going to be overdone because of those soil temperatures across those areas down there are extremely warm. We're talking about soil temperatures, or you could say ground temperatures as high as 75 degrees in some places. So it is very warm, and it's going to take a while for that snow to melt, especially for heavy snow, which you probably have a chance for it to accumulate for a certain period of time. If it's going to stop snowing, then it's going to start the melting process because of those ground temperatures. It's going to be very warm, despite of having very cold temperatures, especially Thursday morning and Friday morning in some of these places in there where it could get pretty cold for this time of year in some of these places in here. But again, pretty much the same thing as like the other models are showing. And I think I'll kind of follow along with the maybe the Canadian model with this one. I think the King model is probably the most accurate here. I think it's a little bit overdone with West Virginia in there in those higher elevations. I think some areas could just see a couple inches of snow in some of those places in there. I don't think places in there will see 6, 7 inches of snow because I think it's going to take some time for that snow to actually stick, depending on your snowfall rates within some of these places in there. But if I was to make a forecast, it's probably going to be similar to the Canadian model, which is also agrees with the map that I made on the last video. So if you haven't seen it already, you can check that out. So here's the soil temperatures or ground temperatures, whatever you want to call it. So you got the legend here, which I know this is pretty small, but there's not a whole lot I could do here. But check out all these ground temperatures here. You can see there, it is very warm. I mean, you got places that it's up to 70 degrees, well, 65, 70 degrees, maybe a couple spots getting close to 35 degrees. And that's extremely warm for snow to try and stick. Just to keep in mind of that. And you can see here for the higher elevations where you get up to Maine and even for New York State and New Hampshire, temperatures are actually still around 30 to 35 degrees, so it's actually going to be much easier for the snow to stick. Which that's where I think some of your highest snowfall totals will be. Will actually be somewhere right into here, where you have some of your coldest temperatures in the northeastern United States in here, and that's also adding on top to where most of the snow could fall. So I think in this area in here will probably be the area that could get most of the snow than everybody else. And it may have some competition down here, but we'll see about that here. But again, the main point of this here is the temperatures on the ground is very warm, and if you're just going to get light snow, it's not going to stick. I mean, it's just not going to stick. Now, depending on your snowfall rates, yeah, it has a chance for sticking to some places there as well. So here's to take a look at here the weather prediction here. And if you guys haven't heard already, wow, my speaking is terrible tonight. Anyways, if you guys haven't heard already, the National Reserve's offices were having trouble with. There was an internet outage for that was affecting the National Weather Service offices, pretty much nationwide, and there was an internet outage. So a lot of these forecasts were put out late or just never got released. And it seems like the issue has been resolved, which is good news here. So we're able to take a look into some new forecasts from these National National Weather Service offices, which is some good news there. At least it didn't happen on a day where it was very active. That's the good part, at least. But anyways, you can see here, some places do actually have a 95 to 100% chance of seeing an inch of snow, which you can see here. I consider a really good chance of snow, probably somewhere at least a 50-60% chance. Will probably be a pretty decent bet of getting an inch of snow. You can see here, northern Vermont, most of New York State, and northern Pennsylvania, and probably into the mountains of West Virginia and portions of southwestern Pennsylvania. Those areas have a pretty good bet of getting at least an inch of snow. 2 inches of snow, I think it's a pretty good bet that the northern New York State and central and portions of western New York State will probably have the better opportunity to see 2 inches of snow, even into portions of northern Pennsylvania, especially in some of those higher elevations. back down into West Virginia. 4 inches. Now, I think the better chance will be sticking around across portions of New York State and even for northwestern Vermont as well. 6 inches. Look at that, northern New York State. That's where we do have some of these places have ground temperatures close to freezing, and that's where I do expect probably some of the most snowfall to fall. At least 8 inches of snow. Yeah, at least 8 inches of snow looks to be a pretty decent bet up there into northern New York State, and at least a foot. Yeah, there's even a chance for a foot of snow, which is about 10 to 20%. That's a pretty low chance. But probably at best, it's going to be somewhere in the 8 to maybe 10-inch range for some of these places in here, at least for the highest snowfall totals. And there may be a chance we have some overachievers in some places in there as well. Here's the National Reserve's forecast here, and keep in mind this is only for the next 48 hours, so this does not go for the entire event. But you can see here, or some of these places that kind of go for the entire event, like these places down here, it does have the mountains of West Virginia getting anywhere from 1 to maybe 3 inches of snow, maybe a little over 3 inches of snow in some places. Even for some of the higher elevations across southwest central Pennsylvania, and then you got northern Pennsylvania up here with a widespread 1 to maybe 2 inches or maybe up to 3 inches of snow in some places. And then you got New York State, which about west of this line here. Let me actually do that a little bit better. Probably about west of this line here. I have a pretty good shot at getting snow for at least the next 48 hours here. That's eventually going to expand to portions of Vermont and probably into northern New Hampshire and portions of Maine as well there. So, yeah, on that. And that's the Natural Reserve's forecast again for the next 48 hours. It does not go for the entire event, but I did see a map here where it does show throughout the entire event. It does have some places getting up to 10 inches of snow, and I actually had some places, I believe, right in the zone here, somewhere in there, in those higher elevations, may have a chance to see up to 10 to maybe 11 inches of snow in some of these places. So, yeah, a winter storm is definitely coming for portions of the northeastern United States there as well. And we'll probably quickly take a look into the temperatures by the National Reserve's offices. So this is for the rest of the day here. Actually, I think, yeah, this is actually tomorrow here. You can see here for tomorrow, these are the high temperatures. So people are in the 50s, 40s, 60s to the East Coast. So these some decent temperatures up there. If you get into tomorrow night, it's still pretty mild to some places in here. Some places are actually stick around to the mid 50s back across the southern Appalachian Mountains there, and even for portions in the mid Atlantic. And here we go. Bam. Tomorrow. You got temperatures in the 30s to upper 20s in some places. This is Friday morning. Yep, that's pretty cold in some places in here. And that's some of these places are under a freeze warning, which may turn into a hard freeze warning. I actually do not know if that exists or not. But anyways, for some of these places, especially across the Ohio Valley, it's going to get pretty cold. And we're likely going to see a freeze in a lot of these places in here, especially for areas that's been getting very warm temperatures for the past several couple weeks. Some of my trees in my county is really blooming. Unfortunately, I think that's this freeze here is going to kill it. Unfortunately, got some pretty nice trees out here, but this freeze here is likely going to kill that off, and also going to slow down with grass growing season as well. So do expect very cold temperatures here. And this is why we say do not plant yet. Yeah, do not plant yet because every year we're going to at least have one cold shot or freeze before actual spring starts. Usually I call this fake spring because you get a big push of colder temperatures for a period or two. I mean, last year we had a week or two of well below average temperatures. A lot of these places in here we did have freezes and stuff like that. So Even after this, do not plan anything yet. There could be another cold shot coming for some of these places in here. And we'll check out Saturday. Or wait a minute. No, this is highs for Friday. Still cold for the interior northeast as well. So yeah, that's pretty much all I can for guys. Uh, wow, I really messed it up on the outro. But what I was gonna try to say is, hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you guys did like this video, hit that like button. If you really do like my channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, you put a comment section down below. I'll answer you guys' questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.